Prince Harry's claiming he was treated unfairly when his British security detail was taken away.
Has there been more evidence of a plot to bring Harry and Meghan back into the fold?
Other members of the royal family getting it, and how Harry deserves it because of his time in the armed forces.
A RAVIC security associate accusing Prince Harry of using a meeting with his children basically as extortion to try to secure automatic armed police protection in the UK going forward.
There's also the fact that Harry claims, poor victim Harry, that he has a stalker, and this person does not see herself as a stalker. And she approached him twice, one of the last times he was there. And Harry has given this as a piece of evidence to try to secure him in getting armed security whenever he lands over in the country.
Is that Harry and indeed Meghan can't stand the fact that Prince William and Kate get automatic police gun guards everywhere they go. So the British taxpayers have no obligation to spend any of their money on you. And if we fancy giving you protection, we will, but if we don't fancy it, we won't. Get used to it.
Massive overheads. They have to pay, it's estimated $2 to $3 million a year for their private security.
That's why I don't believe Harry really wants to spend the summer in Sandringham. I think he's just trying to manipulate his way when it comes to that security. Ultimately,
he might decide to take this further. He needs permission from the High Court to do that. He may decide to appeal and take it to the Supreme Court.
I'm pretty sure that every time he comes to this country, there will be discussions as to what is the security threat perceived around him, and just as any other member of the royal family, and bearing in mind he's one of the more high-profile ones.
He served 2 tours in Afghanistan. He flew Apache helicopters in one of the most dangerous combat zones on Earth. And now, years later, the question being asked across social media, loudly and with no sign of stopping, is whether the same man is being deliberately left exposed. That's the story being told. But there's another version circulating, and it's a lot more complicated. If you want more deep dives like this, make sure to subscribe to Royal Archives. The security debate around Prince Harry and Meghan Markle is not new. It has been dragging through British courts, government offices, and tabloid front pages for years now. But something shifted recently. The conversation got louder, and the accusations got sharper.
A RAVIC security associate accusing Prince Harry of using a meeting with his children basically as extortion.
Friends of the couple have started speaking out in terms that are hard to ignore. One close ally used the word spiteful.
And he said it's spiteful the way that that they've been denied this automatic security. He talked
spiteful. Not bureaucratic, not procedural, not complicated. Spiteful. That word landed, and across platforms, it lit a fire. The argument being made on Harry and Meghan's behalf goes something like this. Harry is a veteran, a target, a man with real documented threats against him. And yet, unlike other members of the extended royal family, he does not have automatic protection when he sets foot on British soil. Every visit requires a separate application, a negotiation, a process. And according to those close to him, that process has been used as a weapon. That's the version trending online. But here's what's raising eyebrows in a different corner of the internet. Because automatic security, and the kind Harry says he's been denied, is not something every royal gets by default. Princess Anne, one of the most senior and hardworking members of the working royal family, does not have automatic protection outside of official engagements. That detail has been circulating quietly. And for a lot of people, it changed the entire frame of the argument. So the question being asked, and it keeps coming up, is this really about spite? Or is it about something else entirely? That's where things stop making sense. Harry and Meghan stepped back from royal duties in early 2020. They made clear they intended to build independent careers, independent income, independent lives, and they have. Netflix deals, Spotify, speaking engagements, a reported move into the world of tech investment. Their brand, Archewell Productions, has had projects announced, a lifestyle series, a polo drama, collaborations discussed in trade publications. They are, by any measure, operating as private citizens with commercial interests. And that distinction matters, because the security model they're pushing for, automatic taxpayer-funded protection on demand, would apply whether they're visiting for a personal reason, a family reason, or a business one. That last part has not gone unnoticed. Their upcoming trip to Australia brought this tension into sharp focus. Social media erupted almost immediately when a petition, signed by tens of thousands, called for zero public funds to be used in connection with the visit.
They're saying, we don't want you here, but the petition demands that no taxpayer funding or official support.
The Sussex response was swift and pointed. Their team pushed back, insisting no taxpayer money would be involved. But critics were quick to highlight the obvious. Any high-profile visit requires some level of local policing. The idea of a completely cost-free VIP presence anywhere is, at minimum, optimistic. And whether that's fair to point out or not, one question kept surfacing in the comments, the threads, the opinion pieces. If this is a private commercial tour, why should the British public be funding any part of their protection? Some online discussions have gone further, suggesting the security dispute isn't just a legal or logistical issue, but a positioning strategy, a way to keep a grievance alive.
In a way, it's confected. It's because they're irrelevant. They're falling off the news cycle.
A way to stay relevant in a British conversation they officially left. Unconfirmed, contested. But the chatter hasn't died down. Now add this. High profile. Voices, including a former British Prime Minister and a well-known royal biographer, have recently come out suggesting the royal family should simply bring Harry and Meghan back into the fold. Pay their security. Give them a base at Buckingham Palace. Let them return, and on the condition they stop speaking publicly about the family. That proposal has generated its own wave of reaction, because embedded in it is an uncomfortable implication, that the only way to manage Harry and Meghan is to pay them, to absorb them, to make the problem go away with access and money rather than accountability. And that's where the story takes a turn. Because if these conversations about plots to welcome them back, about security as a bargaining chip, about what the family might be willing to offer, if any of that is close to accurate, then what we're watching isn't just a legal dispute over protection arrangements. It's a negotiation. And someone is deciding what Harry and Meghan are worth. The question is, worth it to whom? And at what cost? Worth it to whom? That is the question sitting at the center of all of this. And the answer depends entirely on which version of events you believe. Because there are two very different narratives running in parallel right now, and they cannot both be true. The first narrative, the one Harry and Meghan's camp has been pushing, is that a vulnerable family has been cast out, stripped of protection, and left to fend for themselves, while the institution that shaped them looks the other way. That the denial of automatic security is personal, deliberate, a punishment dressed up as policy. The second narrative, the one gaining ground in comment sections, opinion columns, and royal circles, is something else entirely. That the security argument is less about safety and more about leverage. That every time the debate resurfaces, it serves a purpose. That the couple who walked away from royal life keeps finding reasons to demand royal treatment. And here is what makes this so difficult to dismiss either way. Both narratives have receipts. Harry's legal case over security was not thrown out. British courts have taken it seriously. There is documented evidence of threats. His military background is real. His exposure, particularly in the United States, is real. Nobody credible is arguing that the man faces zero risk. That part of the story checks out. But there's growing chatter online about the timing of these escalations. Every time the Sussex brand faces turbulence, a deal that goes quiet, a project that stalls, a press cycle that turns cold, the security conversation seems to resurface, louder, more emotional, more pointed. Whether that's a pattern or a coincidence, observers have noticed it, and they have said so. The Netflix situation alone has fueled weeks of speculation. Variety reported that the streaming giant had effectively moved on from the couple. Then, Deadline reported that Archewell Productions was still attached to a polo drama, fictional Florida set, described as two rival families in heated competition. Harry and Meghan's team pushed back on the narrative that they were finished, insisted the machine was still running, but unconfirmed reports have circulated suggesting the behind-the-scenes picture is messier than the official line. No confirmed director on several announced projects, no cast, no air dates. Announcements that came with fanfare and then went quiet. Some online discussions have suggested that what looks like an active production slate is, in practice, a holding pattern, that the couple are burning through goodwill in Hollywood the same way they burned through it in London. That is not confirmed, but the conversation is not going away. And now, layer on top of that the proposal, floated seriously by serious people, that the royal family should intervene, that King Charles should step in. Pay the security bill. Offer them space at Buckingham Palace. Bring them back under the umbrella. The people making this argument are not fringe voices. A former prime minister, a respected biographer who has spent decades covering the monarchy. Their logic is pragmatic. A prince with Harry's background taken out by a credible threat on foreign soil would be a catastrophe. Not just personally, institutionally, reputationally. The kind of event the monarchy would never fully recover from. So the argument goes, absorb the cost, control the narrative, bring them in before the situation spirals somewhere no one can manage. But critics were quick to point out what that proposal actually means in practice. It means rewarding behavior that the institution has spent years trying to distance itself from. It means the Oprah interview, the Netflix documentary, the memoir, all of it. Gets quietly absorbed with no real accounting. It means trust that was broken gets papered over with a budget line and a palace apartment. And that's where attention quietly shifts toward a harder question. Not whether Harry and Meghan should be protected, but whether the people around them, the allies, the advisors, the well-positioned friends making noise in the press, are acting in Harry and Meghan's interest. Or their own. Because something about this doesn't add up. The couple who said they left to find freedom and privacy have become, paradoxically, one of the most publicly contested subjects in British life. Every statement generates a counter-statement. Every tour generates a petition. Every announcement generates skepticism. The cycle does not slow down, it accelerates. And just months earlier, before the Australia backlash, before the Netflix uncertainty, before the security row hit its latest peak, things looked, at least on the surface, like they might be stabilizing. There were quiet periods. Less noise, a sense, in some quarters, that the temperature was dropping. Then it spiked again. Was this really about security? Or was it about something bigger? About relevance, about leverage, about a couple who built an identity around being wronged and now cannot afford for that story to end? That question is being asked, loudly, and the people asking it are not all enemies of the Sussexes. Some of them are simply watching the same pattern repeat and wondering when or whether it stops. What happens next is genuinely unclear. The Australia visit will happen. The reaction will be what it is. The security legal proceedings continue. The royal family, for now, stays quiet. And somewhere in the background, conversations about bringing Harry and Meghan back, on what terms, at what cost, with what guarantees, are apparently ongoing. Whether those conversations lead anywhere depends on one thing that has never been resolved: whether trust, once destroyed at this level, can actually be rebuilt, or whether what's really being negotiated isn't a reconciliation at all, but a management strategy. There is a difference, and deep down, everyone involved knows it. This story is not over, not even close. And when the next move comes, from the palace, from the Sussexes, from a courtroom, or from a press briefing nobody saw coming, Royal Archives will be here. Make sure you're subscribed, because the next chapter of this is already being written.